All right, today we are diving deep into pansexuality. We're going to break down what it really means, check out the powerful symbolism behind its pride flag, and get into why understanding this identity is just so important. Let's get right into it.
You hear that phrase all the time, right? Attraction regardless of gender. But what does that actually mean? Like, what does it look like in the real world? That's the big question we're going to unpack.
Okay, so at its core, pansexuality is about being attracted to people where their gender just isn't a deciding factor. For a pansexual person, that spark, whether it's romantic, sexual, whatever, it's not based on whether someone is a man, a woman, or any other gender. The focus is somewhere else entirely. So, if it's not about gender, what is it about? Well, for a lot of pansexual folks, it really comes down to things like a person's personality, or their vibe, the energy they put out. It could be a deep emotional connection. It's all those things that have absolutely nothing to do with gender. And of course, this identity has an amazing visual symbol to go with it, the pansexual pride flag. It's not just a cool design, it's a really bold statement about being inclusive. And every single color on that flag has a specific, really important meaning.
Let's break it down. First up, we've got that bright magenta at the top. This color represents attraction to people who identify anywhere on the female spectrum. It's a really clear and deliberate way of including that whole range of identities. Okay, now the yellow stripe in the middle. This one is super important. It specifically represents attraction to people who are outside the traditional gender binary. We're talking about non-binary, genderqueer, and gender-fluid folks. This is really key to what makes the flag so inclusive.
And rounding it out at the bottom, we have cyan. This color stands for attraction to people who identify within the male spectrum. So you put them all together, magenta, yellow, and cyan, and you've got this amazing visual that's all about being expansive and welcoming to everyone. Now, because pansexuality is getting more attention in the mainstream lately, there are a lot of misunderstandings floating around. It just comes with the territory. So let's take a minute and clear the air. We're going to tackle some of the most common myths and talk about what's really going on.
All right, let's just get the big one out of the way first. People always ask, isn't pansexuality just the same as bisexuality? The short answer is no, but you can see why people get confused. There's definitely some overlap. Here's the key difference. Bisexuality is attraction to more than one gender. Pansexuality is attraction regardless of gender. It's a subtle distinction for sure, but it's a really important one. And the most crucial part, both identities are 100% valid.
Okay, here's another huge one you hear all the time. The myth that pansexual people are attracted to everyone. Come on, that's like saying if you like movies, you must love every single movie ever made. It just doesn't make sense, right? Pansexual people are, well, people. They have their own preferences, their own types, their own boundaries, just like anybody else. And the last myth we need to bust, the idea that pansexuality is just some new trend. Oh man, no. The reality is, pansexuality has been an identity for a long, long time. It is not a fad. It's not something that just popped up. What's new is the visibility. The conversation around it has gotten louder recently, and that is a totally different thing. So, busting those myths really shows you why this whole conversation is so important, right? Let's dig a little deeper into that. Let's talk about why visibility matters so much. And I mean, it's not just some buzzword. It is absolutely crucial for the pansexual community.
There's this one quote from the material we're looking at that just puts it so perfectly. It says, pansexuality is not about confusion, it's about love and attraction that exist beyond gender categories. And that right there, that's the whole idea. It's the key to really getting it.
So why the big deal about visibility? Well, for one, it's about fighting back against erasure, making sure the identity isn't ignored. It also helps tear down all those harmful stereotypes we just talked about. And when an identity is seen and understood, it gets validated. And that validation, it gives people the power to live as their true, authentic selves and helps them realize they're not alone. And, on a bigger scale, learning about pansexuality kind of reminds all of us just how big and varied human connection can be. It's a celebration of this really beautiful idea that people and love don't have to fit into these neat, tiny, rigid boxes we create. Which kind of leaves us all with a big question to think about, doesn't it? How can we, all of us, help build a world where love isn't shoved into a box, but is just celebrated for what it is? Something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.